Do you have free will? Did I freely decide to make this video or was it predetermined? It seems obvious to think we are free in our decisions. I freely decided to make this video. You freely decided to watch it. And Elon Musk freely decided to secretly create a zombie apocalypse to generate demand for flamethrowers. But did we really? Is it scientifically acceptable to assume we metaphysically are free to decide over our own actions? Benjamin Libet proved back in 1958 that our brains prepare to take an action before we consciously make the decision to undertake said action. He recorded the motor cortex activity of a patient who he asked to say out loud when he decided to take a specific action. Surprisingly, the motor cortex became active before the conscious decision was made. This was a shocking discovery at the time. Determination and emotional factors are governed by the prefrontal cortex and amygdala in your brain. It enables a good regulation of emotions and shapes our perception of the world around us. Thus, the cortical areas in your brain will automatically slow down the overflowing emotions which are generated by various events, such as accidents, shocks, death, love, fear, etc. If not, it would lead the person to behave randomly in society. Some people therefore argue that free will is a state of emotion rather than a metaphysical property. Free will might also be comparable to the placebo effect, where we display the symptoms of free will because we are under the impression we have it, while in reality we don't. According to Newtonian physics, the behavior of particles, such as the ones that make up your brain, can be predicted with its laws of physics. This means our world would be deterministic. The law of cause and effect applies in absolute form. Everything that happens is a consequence of an earlier event. So the fact that I'm making this video was always meant to happen. This would mean that if we were to calculate the behavior of every particle in the universe, we would know the future. This would be next to impossible to do, but theoretically it could be done. According to Newtonian physics, we don't have a free will in any way. Everything we do was predetermined to happen from the moment of the Big Bang. This was also in accordance with Einstein's relativity. The world was deterministic. At least until the Heisenberg uncertainty principle came along. Now an electron could be in infinite places at once, and the cat was dead and alive at the same time, while particles could appear randomly out of nothingness. The quantum world is not deterministic at all. As a matter of fact, it's so random most scientists still have trouble to understand it. And even if they claim to understand it, they probably don't. Now, we have previously talked about quantum flux on this channel. But could such a small process really influence something as complex as our free will? Turns out the problem lies not in the scale of the fluctuations, but in the time frame it takes place on. As I pointed out in the quantum flux video, any given particle that results from quantum flux will only exist within the time frame allowed by the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. While this time frame is dependent on factors, it will always be very short, way too short to influence any macro-scale phenomenon. Now what about the other applications of quantum mechanics? Things such as superposition could play a role in the concept of free will, but science is still very divided on how subatomic processes can influence something as seemingly complex as free will. And even if it does play a role, since you can't consciously control those completely random quantum reactions, they still wouldn't give you free will. It would mean everything is just an unpredictable chance encounter. Probability would still be a concept, but any decisions would not be freely out of your own control. But at least no one could predict your future based on your past. And on the other hand, if it doesn't play a role, probability would be a lie, everywhere but in the quantum world, and everything would have been predetermined from the Big Bang. To the universe it's already known who I will marry and when I will die. 13.8 billion years ago it was already certain you would click this video and watch it, meaning no one could be held accountable for their actions. You can see how this gets disturbing. If no one can be held responsible for their actions, the implications for society are huge. No one would be punishable or praisable for any action they take. But let's try not to get too philosophical here, as we are on a science channel after all. To sum things up, it doesn't seem like we are metaphysically free in taking our actions the way we do. Which points out that we live in a deterministic universe where everything is predetermined. While we can 100% scientifically dismiss a free world, the chances are looking very grim. And even if a quantum process could influence it, we still wouldn't have full free will.